Yo, this is Terrence Gaines, aka Brother Tech,
And this is Nika Montford, aka Tech Savvy Diva.
and you're listening to the snobOS podcast, the podcast for Apple snobs, where we talk all things Apple and then some. We want to thank everybody for joining. We're doing a little bit better on the video and the audio, so we appreciate you hanging in there with us so far. First week was second week was, but I
Hmm.
think this week we got it. So
Yeah.
we definitely want to thank all the Patreons for hanging in there because without them, none of this would be possible. They motivated us to finally get out here and do some video, finally do some live taping. So we want to thank all the Patreons for that. Specifically, we actually have a new Patreon this week. My wife is supporting the show, so we want to tell her thank you for that. She kind of gave me some grief because she found out through the grapevine outside of her husband that we finally decided to go live and do some video streaming and live taping. So she gave me a little bit of grief for that. So I'll take my arrows for that. But we definitely want to thank Landra for supporting the show. She's been there. She's been our
The
day
driving
one.
force.
So we definitely want to tell her thank you for that.
Thanks, girl.
Way you can support the show, definitely you can uh, go to patreon.com / snobOScast, and for little as $5 a month you get access to the pre-show. So we do a pre-show to where we kind of chit chat about things that have been going on, anything we want to talk about randomly. You get access to the live show, so you can join in while we're actually taping the show, and you get access to our Discord chat where we talk about random things that's going on as far as the week is going on. Any ideas for show topics, you can throw those in the Discord chat, and just chat outside of social media, outside of the actual podcast. So we definitely want to thank you for that. Please support once again. That is patreon.com / snobOScast, and you can start as little as $5 a month and go up from that. So definitely want to thank you for that. So other than that, we're going to move right into the lowdown where we talk all things Apple. So we want to get into our um, first topic, and it looks like Tim Cook and Apple. For those who don't know, John Lewis, the congressman, maybe most people know him as Congressman John Lewis, but he's been a civil rights leader, civil rights activist for the longest.
Since he was a
And
child.
yeah, and he recently passed. I think it was over the weekend,
Hmm.
and so this week, Apple has decided they were going to honor the life of the late politician, civil rights leader John Lewis with a full page tribute on the website. So if you go to Apple's website right now, you'll see a big image on the main front page, and it's got a quote by John Lewis, and it says, "Never ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble," which kind of sounds almost like a Steve Jobs ish type quote. Some of the quotables from Steve Jobs, and it kind of sounds like something Steve Jobs would say. So it's pretty cool that Tim Cook and Apple would actually, commemorate John Lewis like this.
Yeah, and John Lewis is known for coining that phrase "good trouble" back during the sit-in days and the boycotts. And he has, you know, over the 24-hour period, I think it was Saturday and Sunday, we lost two giants from the movement, Reverend C.T. Lewis and I'm sorry, Reverend C.T. Vivian
Yes.
and John Lewis, who both were instrumental and were generals along with Martin Luther King during the civil rights movement, and for both of them to to pass on. And I want to say I saw people calling them ancestors, and I was like, that's a very good title for them, as they were here on the ground, making it so that we could vote. Without John Lewis, we wouldn't be able to, we meaning Black people, have the ability to vote. And that's one of the, specifically, in the upcoming elections, is pivotal. It's pivotal in 2016. It was pivotal in 2018, and even more now. I think the soul of this nation is up for grabs for 2020. So I think it's we've seen a lot of tributes to people, and I think that's fantastic. I'm glad that Tim Cook is also leading the charge from Apple's perspective. There's still a long way to go, even though this man literally fought his entire life for civil rights and justice and equality for Black people and other marginalized people. He died, with I think he was diagnosed with colon cancer.
Hmm.
Even through all of that, he has a metal plate in his head from when he was attacked, and I'm sure he has many other scars as well. But for him to essentially come into this world fighting and going out fighting is a true testament to him and his legacy. And what we can do, particularly as Black people, as we move forward, is to continue his legacy by making sure that we go out and vote and that we continue to get into good trouble.
Yep, absolutely. And I just wanted to um, quote Tim Cook. He put a tweet on put a tweet on Twitter, of course,
Of course.
and his quote was, "We have lost an American hero. John Lewis guided us toward a more righteous world. He marched in Selma. He marched on Washington. He marched for us all. His life's work shaped our history, and his legacy inspires us to continue the march for racial equality and justice." So, definitely do a shout out to Apple for commemorating John Lewis. Like I said, African American history, Black history is American history. So,
Yes.
it shouldn't be just us, Black people celebrating and commemorating those that we've lost. He's a part of American history. So nice
Yeah.
to know that big American company like Apple has recognized that as well. So,
Yep.
all right. Moving on to the next one. Speaking of Black Lives Matter, Apple, their iOS keyboard suggests a black fist when the words Black Lives Matter is typed. So I don't know if you've seen this before, but on Twitter, like if you put a hashtag, it will pop up certain things. Like for instance, if you put hashtag in Twitter BLM or Black Lives Matter, it'll do the fist thing as well. So
Hmm.
iOS is kind of taking that same step and actually added the black fist emoji when you type Black Lives Matter in using the iOS keyboard. So I'm
Yes.
pretty sure this is for specifically for the iOS keyboard. So if you're using like a Google keyboard or some other type of keyboard that you can add now
The
to
non-native keyboard.
yeah. So you got to be on the not you got to be on the native iOS keyboard, and that was actually released. Let's see, let me make sure I read this correctly. So, uh, iOS 13.6 was announced, but also the public beta for iOS 14 is out. So I want to make sure that which one you're on. So I'll just read the quote from this story that we found. The iOS keyboard will auto suggest all three black fist emojis, meaning the different colors, because there's a lighter skin, a medium, and a darker skin emoji. When you type the phrase Black Lives Matter or the acronym BLM, if you're on Apple's newly released iOS 13.6 software update or the latest iOS 14 beta. The feature was spotted last week in a beta of iOS 13.6 by a user on Reddit. So you've got to update to the latest public iOS, which is 13.6, or you can also be on the public beta for iOS 14 and you'll get that feature for the Black Lives Matter fist emoji.
Nice.
Yep. So
Cool.
let's, moving on. Apple Card is showing up on credit reports. So for those like myself who are using the Apple Card on regular purchases, people are starting to notice that specifically Experian is showing the Apple Credit as an account on your credit report, and it shows revolving credit card. I don't know why this is a surprise. I guess just because it's Apple, maybe people don't assume that
But
it's
it's still a
actually.
credit
It's
card.
still a credit card. It's still a
You still had
financial.
to get credit. Still had to give your social. They had to run your credit to
Right,
give you the card.
right. So maybe people wasn't assuming it wasn't gonna show up as soon, but the Apple Card has been out for. Phew, when did I get one? Last year or early this year? I
No,
can't
it was
remember.
it was last year. It was
Yeah.
right when it came out. I was still on the fence, and I think I got mine maybe a week or two after yours
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, do I need that? And then I was like, okay, why not?
You gonna learn from sleeping on stuff. When you see
I
something,
know.
you need to just. Well, you know what? I can't speak for everybody. I'm super impulsive like that. It's like I don't need it, and I won't look for it. But when I decide I want it, I'm doing it. Like same thing I was telling you in the pre-show about me getting to live streaming. It was
Hmm.
like I was testing some things out, and I was like, all right, let's do it. So then I moved all my computer down here and plugged
Hmm.
everything up. I'm about to go buy some extra equipment just to get into gaming
Hmm.
when all I could have did was just testing, but all right, this looks fine, and then forgot about the whole streaming game. I'm mad impulsive. When I decide I want something, it's gonna take me 5 minutes, and I got
Yeah,
it.
after I decide I'm in for something, it
Mm-hmm.
I go ahead and pull the trigger. But it's the deciding, do I really wanna, do I need it? And then when I do, it's like, okay, fine, sure.
All right, all right. So yeah, so for those who have the Apple Card now, you are being recorded in Experian. No word on TransUnion or Equifax. The story that we found only lists Experian, but yeah, if you got a Apple credit card, they are tracking your credit history. So I don't think you're gonna be able to skate on that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I may have to check it out now. I got, through my bank, you can see all that stuff, and they give me like my credit score like every month or whatever. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
have to see, because I know in the article it says you can track whether you see a bump or a drop as a result, but I don't know why it would go up or down. Well, I guess if you're not current, then it will go down.
Yeah. So
Mm.
yeah,
Hmm.
but yeah, again, shout out to Apple for showing up in Experian.
Right.
And I think that is it for the lowdown. We're going to move into the second string where we talk all things tech. And it looks like Instagram, via Facebook as a parent company, is trying to get you to stay within the app to do your shopping. So they have rolled out a new shopping feature in the US. So Instagram said on Thursday, I want to say it's last Thursday, it was launching a new feature that will allow users to browse and buy products from brands and creators without leaving the app. Uh, Facebook's Facebook said Instagram Shop is the name of it, was rolling out in the United States on Thursday and will be expanded globally in the next few weeks. Shopping
Hmm.
section will be available in the Explore section of the popular social media app and will get its own tab later in the year. Instagram added. To pay or for purchase for an app, the company is also rolling out Facebook Pay on Instagram in the next few weeks in the US in line with its aim to integrate payment services across all its apps. So I read the whole thing to get to the meat and potatoes. The meat and
Hmm.
potatoes is to pay for a purchase on the app, the company is rolling out Facebook Pay. So again, data is mad important
I'm not
and
giving Facebook my financial access. No, they got too
right.
many problems already. They've shown that they can't really handle what they already got. So I don't think I want them to have the access to my debit card or credit card or whatever they're requiring to go on there. So I
Mm-hmm.
personally won't be doing that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's for people who want to stay in the Facebook bubble. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, hey, go for it.
Yeah,
But
and specifically to stay in the app. So, a lot of people on Facebook, a lot of creators, a lot of business people are on Facebook and they're already selling stuff within Facebook. So Instagram is rolling, I mean, Facebook is rolling that out to Instagram. Now you can. It wasn't like you couldn't buy stuff from Instagram in the beginning. It's just you had to use that website's payment processing in order to pay for a product, and then the Instagram browser is not as robust as Safari or Chrome, and then you
mhm.
may run into some issues. So on Instagram's or Facebook's standpoint, it's like, all right, well, let's just keep you in the bubble, like you mentioned, and make it easier for you to buy things without having to jump through a third party processor or another website, whatever the case may be. You do it all within Instagram, no extra browsers, no extra nothing. But again, this is a ploy to get more data, which, you know, we are a little skeptical, but like you mentioned, there are people who live on Instagram. So this will probably be a feature for them to keep them in Instagram.
Yeah. I mean, have at it, friends. Just, be aware
Mm-hmm.
of the broader implications and make your decisions accordingly. I won't be using it, but, more power to those of you who decide to use it.
Right. All right. Speaking of Instagram, we're going to stay pretty much for all second string, we're going to stay in the Facebook bubble here. So the next story is Instagram is testing a personal fundraising feature.
Coming
So
for GoFundMe.
yeah. So if you have a cause that you're interested in, or think of it like what's it? GoFundMe within Instagram. So I'll just go ahead and read the story. Instagram today announced a new tool for personal fundraisers. The company said it's beginning a small test of the feature, which will allow users to link directly to a fundraiser from their profile page. The test will initially run in the US and UK and Ireland on Android, followed by iOS. While users can choose to either start a cause or support an existing one, Instagram says all fundraisers will first be vetted to ensure they meet existing guidelines and rules. These rules include a list of supported fundraising categories, uh, in detail which cases a fundraiser could not be approved. Same rules apply for Facebook fundraisers. So again, the same features that you're already familiar with, like on Facebook, for example. I see a lot of people for their birthday, instead of you sending them happy birthday or well wishes or whatever, they'll link
Oh
to a fundraiser.
yeah.
Right. So that same feature is coming over to Instagram. Again, there are young folks. This is Facebook's ploy to keep hold of those millennials, those
Hmm.
young folks that,
As people transition out of Facebook.
or don't ever plan on going to Facebook in the start to start.
True.
They started in Snapchat, they started on Twitter, they
These
started.
Zers, they start.
Right.
They don't. They, it's like Facebook. Who?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So trying to keep them within the Facebook family, but don't make them feel like they got to go over to the old folks' Facebook. You know, they're pulling over all those features into Instagram. So that's a decent one. Again, we just hope that they aren't collecting any sort of data for nefarious reasons. And we also hope that these fundraisers are legit ones so nobody gets scammed on Facebook.
Right.
Yep.
Mm.
All right, all right. So, like I said, staying within the Facebook Instagram bubble, Facebook Messenger adds screen sharing feature to Facebook Messenger. So, if you have downloaded the separate Messenger app and you're not going through Facebook proper to send the messages to family and friends, you can actually instantly share your photos and surf social media with friends on Facebook's chat platform. So
Hmm.
basically, the new feature will let you instantly share your screen with friends and family, either in video calls with calls up to 8 people, or using the Messenger Rooms feature to chat with other 16 people, with up to 16 people. You can also screen share in Messenger Rooms while on the web and desktop, sharing with up to 50 participants. The current maximum in Messenger Rooms is coming soon, according to a Facebook news post. So I didn't get this to work actually. I actually tried it with my
Mhm.
wife to see if it would work, because this sparked my interest, because as a IT support guy who takes
Oh yeah.
clients, it's trying to walk them through iPhone stuff, and I have to close my eyes. I'm literally on the
Trying
phone
to visualize
trying
it.
to trying to visualize what they're seeing in the screen. So it would be dope if I could just say, "Hey, let's hop in a messenger room or get on messenger chat, share your
Mhm.
screen so I can see what you're doing and point to the right directions." But again, like I mentioned, I couldn't get it to work. It's available, right now. You open up Messenger, and you do like a video call, like you're calling somebody on Messenger, and then once you connect, you swipe up from the bottom. It gives you the option to share the screen. Then I couldn't get it to work. So maybe again, I was a quick test. So, but we'll see if this works, because like I said, I fumbled on trying to get this to work. But again, it's interesting because it's a good feature, especially for support. If you got family members and you are the IT person for all the family and trying to get them to do something, this is definitely something I'd be interested in.
So I'm interested. So I don't use Messenger even on the website.
Right,
I tell people don't send me a message because I'm not gonna read it.
right.
But I'm interested to see because they have the platform Messenger Rooms, and then
Mm-hmm.
they also have Rooms. Are those two different things?
So there's Messenger on your
The
iOS
Messenger
or
where you can
Android,
send messages, right? Then they
and
have Rooms where it's kind of like your
I think it's maybe interchangeable between rooms and
okay.
messenger rooms and rooms. I think they just
Okay,
say,
because that's what was confusing me. I was like, wait a minute, what? Didn't they
yeah,
just come up with the same thing? What's the use in having two different? Okay, all right, cool.
yeah, yeah. I think Messenger for the iOS and then Messenger Rooms for the desktop. And messenger
Oh,
rooms, like I mentioned, gives you up to 50 participants versus just a regular messenger app on your iPhone is up to like 8.
oh, okay, that's the difference.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
and it's in the thing, sharing with up to 50% participants. Okay. Hmm.
Yep, yep, yep. All right, so that is it for second string. We're gonna move into for the culture, where we talk all things culture in general. Speaking of John Lewis, you would think that John Lewis, the congressman, would be well respected, which he is for the most
Well,
part.
no. Hmm.
For the most part, well known within the circles of Congress and the Senate and the House that hold,
Not a
U.S.
whole lot of
government.
black people,
Right.
so.
So, as you can imagine, the old saying that, all black people look alike.
Mhm.
There was a couple of Republican senators who, in their well wishes to, shares and condolences, they shared pictures of not John Lewis, but Elijah Cummings, the
Who
congressman
passed
from.
last year.
Right, right. So it's just crazy how,
They're rushed to say, look, I know a black, I'm not racist.
hmm.
You, you prove it by showing the wrong one.
Right, right.
Like,
Just.
just take a beat. It's
Hmm.
okay.
Do some
Everybody's still processing.
do some research.
Make sure you pull the right photo.
Hmm.
They're both representatives, yes. They're both older black men, yes. But take
Right,
away the black, it's a lot of that already there in
right.
Congress right now. So just take a beat and don't be in such a rush
And don't
to,
go so extra.
yeah. And the thing is, in this climate and in this environment, people are trying so hard to say, see, look, I'm not like them, even though everything you've done up to that point has shown that you are. Posting this picture with this man and saying he's a hero and all those kind of things, that's people aren't going to forget. So it's okay to take your time to make sure that you get all the right information together for your post.
Yeah, and I think it's just, I guess for me, it's just like you're going, like I say, you're trying too hard to be super extra when you could
Mhm.
just say thoughts and prayers or my condolences or he was a good man. Whatever you were going to say, just say it. You don't have to go so extra to prove, like you mentioned, that
See, I stood by him.
look at me, some of my coworkers are black, and then
Some
that's
of my best friends are black.
right. And then you show a picture of the wrong friend or the wrong coworker. just,
And the
just
man died
right.
last year.
Yeah. Just,
That's exhausting. I'm sorry,
yeah.
but
And it could be, look, and this is in most cases, it is a simple mistake.
yeah.
But in the current climate that we're in,
Mhm.
um, all the things that John Lewis did, you would think that, hey, let's take a break because it's toxic out here. Anything you say, somebody's going to jump on. Don't give anybody no ammunition. People are going to say something regardless. Don't.
Had he even put the right person on there, people were going to say, oh, why is he talking about this? He wasn't on his side when he was, trying to pass laws or do whatever. So
Hmm.
it's not going to, there's people are always going to say something. Like you said, don't give them the extra ammunition. And that's exactly what he did.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. So, hopefully, some of these congressmen, some of these people who claim to work across the aisle and claim to be bipartisan and claim to, aim for the same struggles and all that stuff. Let's hope they take a breather and, like I said, live up to the expectations that they themselves put out there. Because nobody expected Marco Rubio and this other senator to do that. We didn't expect you to do that. So why overcompensate and then make look like a fool?
Look like a dummy.
Yeah, All right. So speaking of looking
Dummies.
like dummies,
Got a big one for you.
yeah, Kanye West had his first campaign rally in South Carolina. Was it over the weekend or earlier this week?
It was earlier this week.
Um, so the rapper appeared shortly after 5 p.m. at the Exquis Event Center rally with the numbers 2020
In his
cut
hair.
into his hair. Number one. Number two, he invited, press, and then this weird. I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's a what do they call the thing in the beginning of Saturday Night Live, where the guest come and speak monologue. That's
Oh,
the word.
mom.
I couldn't think of the word. This weird one man monologue to where he's just spewing random things that
In a
some,
security vest,
yeah,
a
a bulletproof
bulletproof
vest.
vest without the plates in it. That's what
Yes.
they're saying. The plates weren't even in it.
So, and it was just all over the place. He was talking about, there was a point to where he broke down when crying, talking about, possibly considering abortion for his first daughter. He broke down and cried for that, and then went into this diatribe about there's no more plan B, only plan A to exist, to suggest that he's pro-life and anti-abortion, which I can understand, but at the same time, this is not the right way to put out that platform. And he had the audience there, and they were very vocal. So some were cheering him, and some were, congratulating him. Other people were booing him, and giving him the quiet treatment. He talked about as far as the abortion thing, he, he's trying, but it's not his lane, because the quote I got in here for this story, the maximum increase would be everybody that has a baby gets $1 million or something in that range to encourage women to not have abortions. His plan is, okay, if you keep the baby and decide to go through with the birth, you get $1 million. So um, you can't just throw money at a problem, and you can't tell women what to do with their bodies. So, but that's a whole other thing.
Right.
So then it's just all over the place.
So my biggest thing is the biggest takeaways from this is
Mm-hmm.
one, he's obviously in. We all know that he has a bipolar diagnosis. He's in the middle of an episode, um, and I don't know. You can't make anyone get help. I'm not sure he has a family. Um, I'm not sure, what they can do, or if they are, what, I don't know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's clear he's in the middle of a break. He's been on several rants over the late night, over the last couple of days. Second, he viciously went after this young Black woman who asked him a question, and he was giving incorrect information, and she was correcting him on his incorrect statements, and he just lost it. And the third thing is his statements about Harriet Tubman not really freeing slaves. She just moved them to work for more white people.
Right.
And I'm just like, it's I can have empathy for his mental situation, and his mental disease, because he has a sickness, he has an illness. So I can have empathy for that, but there are other bipolar people who aren't misogynist or anti-black.
Or
So,
arrogant.
or arrogant. So it's like that duality of, I understand that he is in the middle of an episode from his disease. And that is something I won't say that he can't help, because he has, as he said, I think he recently said, I have $5 billion and even more in God. So he has the money, he has the resources to be able to take care of himself. But at the same time, he has the arrogance of, I don't need that. I can go out here and say, and, do whatever I please. So for me, it's that duality of him being sick and him just being an a-hole.
Right.
And there's really, to me, no in between. I've seen people on social media talk about how, oh, he's ill, and you guys are really showing your ableist, and all these. I mean, it's just all these conversations. But at the end of the day, he is a grown man.
Mm-hmm.
He is aware of his sickness, his diagnosis, the fact that he can take medication and get therapy to help combat some of the effects of his disease, and he's choosing not to.
Right.
So I'm not going to just give him a blank check just to be out here just putting out information,
Mm-hmm.
misconstruing information. I think he actually got on the ballot in Iowa.
Mm.
Is it? He got on the
Yeah.
ballot in one state. He didn't get
Right.
on the ballot in South Carolina
Or Florida.
or
Some of these,
Florida.
any
Some of
of the
these other
major swing states, he
swing
missed the boat
states.
on that. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know if he is doing this to help Donald Trump. I don't know if he's doing this because in his mind he could be president, or if it's a symptom of his disease or a combination of all three, to be honest. But at this point, I don't, he can have my empathy at a distance, because at this point, he has the tools, he has the money to be able to help himself. And from what it appears to be, he's choosing not to. That's his
Right.
choice, that's his right, it's his body, he can do what he wants. But at the same time, you have to, there has to be some accountability of your actions.
Right. And that's what I was going to say, because a lot of people who, either side with him or feel sorry for him are, on social media saying, how dare y'all, we claim Black Lives Matter, but then y'all want to tear down a black man because of whatever the case may be. And I see how people can also say, well, he's sick, his mother passed and that kind of started things off. And, people are also saying, hey, I feel sorry for Kim Kardashian, or where's Kim Kardashian? Why isn't she reeling him in? And it's like, look, you cannot, like you mentioned, you cannot, once somebody has made a decision or a choice as to how they're going to respond or react or behave in the midst of whatever they're going through, there's only so much empathy, there's only so much sympathy. And, you got to be able to, like you mentioned, you got to be able to, you know, be aware of these decisions and be able to take the blowback as a result. So I not personally going to be like, oh, uh, Kanye's done to me, and all these things people are saying, because personally, I really don't look up to celebrities like that. So they're just other people that we happen to be talking about because they're
Mhm.
celebrities. But there are a lot of people who either hang on his every word or are quick to say, well, he ain't done nothing to me, so F him and all this stuff. Both are kind of on this far range. And
Mhm.
like you mentioned, you know, you've got to be able as a person to be, as an adult, to decide these are the choices I'm going to make. And you have to be responsible for those actions, like you mentioned. So while there are people on the opposite ends of the spectrum for or against Kanye, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And, we can't expect to, you know, obviously we can't expect to plead or make it through to him, because if his family hasn't made it through to him, if his friends haven't made it through to him, if his bank account hasn't made it through to him, because he, like you said, he's got billions of dollars, so he
So
can
he
take care of
said.
himself. So if that, you know let go and let God, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't supported his, I never bought any of his clothes or any of that crap because that looked like apocalyptic slave wear.
Right.
Um, and I haven't supported his music in a really long time. So I don't support his empire or what he
Mm-hmm.
does to make a living. But I do have empathy for, you know, the disease that he has.
Right.
And he
Absolutely.
can't do anything about what sickness
With the
he
effects.
has.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so he gets my empathy for being bipolar and being ill, and at the same time he's not taking care of himself.
Right.
So that accountability is, you can have empathy for someone but still hold them accountable
Right.
for what they choose to do, and whether
Right.
you choose to support somebody or not.
Right. And oh yeah, so you reminded me about the Harriet Tubman comment. His, like you mentioned, he said, well, she wasn't being free and slave, she was just moving the work for other white people. And it's like, it's crazy how people can make comments like that. And yet, if you remember, Kanye West was on a interview and he said this multiple times when he was launching that weird fashion brand that he was launching. He was on, I think it was Breakfast Club, begging this fashion industry to please let me in. Y'all blocking me out. Y'all need to let me in. So it's like, how are you so hypocritical to say Harriet Tubman, somebody who actually
Did
freed
something.
slaves and did something, you are, critiquing what she did. But when you turn around and beg these same white people who you claim control everything, begging them to get in, it's like, okay, well, you need to
Pick a side, bro.
take your same advice, you
Yeah.
know.
And the
So
thing
yeah,
is, my thing is, when he married into the family that he's in, for me, it was one of those things where he was trying to say, white is better. Look at my family, look at this. We're all better. The way they handle things, the way they create, all this is better, it's better.
it's
But
superior,
now,
right?
yeah, he's trying to make it, he's buying into white supremacy. And
Mm-hmm.
he was shilling for white supremacy, particularly when he was out in his red hat and Donald Trump and, this white person's my friend, that white person's my friend, name dropping all of these quote unquote influential white people. And now, like on his rant last night, he kept going on and on about white supremacy and, how, they tried to come for him. I think he said his wife and his mother-in-law tried to bring doctors and lock him up, and he was going just off. So it's just like, I know it's a part of his sickness, but not all of this is a
Right.
part of his sickness.
No.
And the thing is, I don't remember where I saw it, but someone said, and it rang so true. Kanye has always been this arrogant, but when he was
Mm-hmm.
bumping out good music, college dropout, late registration, oh, it's just genius. But then when it came on the side of what is this dude talking about,
Mm-hmm.
now it seems to be an issue. But he's been this way.
Okay.
This
Okay.
isn't different. He's always been this arrogant. He's always been this, I am quote unquote God. I mean, I went to um, one of his shows, and was this the show that I went to? Is this the one where no, it was one where he was essentially calling himself Jesus and he was hanging on the cross and,
Mm-hmm.
all those type of things. So my thing is, what we're seeing from him now is not any different than what he was before. Now it's just wrapped in his diagnosis and it's wrapped in him now being more famous and having more money and thinking he's more, above, everyone else, that it seems that it's an issue now.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that big of an issue when he was a quote unquote nobody, or when he was newer, when Jay was putting him on, or when any of these, he was producing for everybody. He was dropping all this hot music with all these artists. Because I know in one of his tweets when he was ranting, he was like, he loves, is it Lil Baby? It's so
Mm-hmm.
many Lil Baby, Da Baby rappers.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, he said it's his favorite rapper and they won't even work with him. So now he's all upset about that. And I'm like, but you put yourself in this situation for people not to want to fool with you because of what your own actions are causing you to be in the situation that you're in now. And he
Right.
doesn't, it's not clicking.
Right.
So, so yeah, I got empathy for the brother, but well,
Yeah.
I don't know if I should call him brother, but I got empathy for the man. But,
Right.
it's still, I don't see it.
All right. Well, like I
Mm.
said, it is what it is. Like I said, hopefully he, figures it
Gets
out.
back on his medication, gets to a doctor or whatever the case may be that's gonna, help him, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Mhm.
Oh well. Like I said, hope he figures it out. But anyway, so that is it.
No problem.
Yeah. Right. That is it for the culture. Originally, I didn't have anything for the hookup, but now I do. StreamYard. We are now using StreamYard to stream our show live. So I definitely would recommend it. It is super simple. There's no software to download, no applications, no plugins, no extra setup. You just sign in, you just invite your guests, and you connect to YouTube or Twitch or Facebook Live, and you're off to the races as far as quality podcasting and live streaming. So definitely check that out. It is streamyard.com, and that's definitely something I recommend. If everything goes well, we will continue to use it for the foreseeable future. So definitely check that out. So yeah, streamyard.com. If you're ever interested remotely into streaming, definitely check them out. So that is it. I think that's it for the show this week. Definitely download, rate, and review us. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Definitely engage with us on social. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Now we're on YouTube at snobOS Cast. Definitely, like I mentioned, watch us on YouTube. I want to do the traditional YouTube. Like and subscribe. Hit that like button. Add us to the
Ding or ding,
notifications.
wherever
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
yeah. How we do it? It is right here. it's it's not gonna be right there because I ain't got
It's
them
not
skills
there.
like.
We're just making it up.
But definitely, if you go on YouTube, you can definitely like and subscribe. That'll help us reach out to more people. Finally, you can also leave comments and suggestions. You can go to our website at snobos.com, or you can reach us out on email. We're on snoboscast@gmail.com. Again, please support the show. You can support it by becoming a Patreon. You go to patreon.com/snoboscast. For little as $5 a month, you get access to the pre-show taping, some of the content that won't be on the actual podcast. You'll get access to the live taping, so you can be there with us as we record the show. And you get access to the Discord chat where we'll be commenting about all things tech, all things show, all things anything via the Discord chat. Again, we want to thank our new snobists. We want to thank my lovely wife, Alondra. She gave me the business, but also supported the show. So I'll have to figure out some way to give her a special thank you. A special thank you.
Smell that girl.
So thank you to my wife for that. And that is it. So thank you for listening, and we are out. Peace.
Bye.